water without fear of brain damage. We're making the most significant investment in climate ever, including the most significant investment in climate justice ever. That includes proposing the nation's first ever federal heat safety standard to protect 36 million workers from extreme heat on the job, many of them Latino workers. I'm also relieving student debt for nearly 5 million borrowers, many of whom are Latinos. And I've not stopped yet. The courts are not going to win this. And we're investing over $15 billion, the largest investment in history, in Hispanic-serving institutions. That's a fact, $15 billion. We also announced the first ever White House initiative and President's Board of Advisors for Hispanic-serving institutions to advance equity, excellence, and opportunity, and to support more dreamers in going to college. We're proposing an expanded federal TRIO program to provide dreamers with critical college access services like counseling and tutoring. I could go on, but the point is simple. Together, we're making the most significant investment in Latino communities ever, 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 because of you. And my administration, along with CHC, has been on a road to communities across the country to share the good news. But there's more we have to get done. We must pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. Stop the intimidation of Hispanic voters in Texas and elsewhere. And let's defend your freedom to choose. Restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land. And pass comprehensive immigration reform. We're not only going to stop extreme MAGA Republicans from cutting Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, we're expanding and strengthening it. These programs are making the wealthy begin to pay their fair share if we do it the right way. They don't pay anywhere near percentage what everybody else pays. We've capped the cost of insulin for seniors at $35 a month instead of an average of $400 a month. And starting in January, we're capping total drug costs for seniors at $2,000 a year, even for expensive drugs like cancer costs of $10, $12, and $14 a year. We're going to continue to fight to do that for every single American. By the way, our reforms not only save lives, they're saving the average taxpayer $160 billion because Medicare no longer has to pay exorbitant prices of Big Pharma. There's so much more. Well, all this progress is in stark contrast to Donald Trump's devastating record for the Latino community. His mismanagement of the pandemic devastated the Latino community. Trump is a failed businessman who drove up Latino unemployment and decimated Latino small businesses. And his attacks on legal immigration betray what we stand for as a nation. He separated families at the border, ripping children from their parents. He banned people based on their faith. And now Trump and extreme MAGA officials have an agenda, something they call, as you all know, Project 2025. At the top of that list, and he means it, is the deportation of over 11 million people. They say they would use local police, the National Guard, and even the United States military to round up and rip away millions of people from their homes, families, and communities. Think about that. Mass detention camps that will tear our country apart and damage our international relations and devastate our economy. And as outrageous as it sounds, he wants to take away birthright citizenship. If you're born here, it doesn't mean you're automatically an American citizen. That cannot happen. What the hell's the matter with this guy? One of the reasons why our economy is the strongest in the world is we rejected xenophobia of my predecessor and leaders like him around the world. We cannot go down that road. But that's where he wants to go. Attacking voting rights, banning choice nationwide, already eliminated affirmative action. They would also decimate diversity. equity, and inclusion across American lives. Banning books, erasing history. You're making history, not erasing history. Folks, diversity is the strength of this nation. It really is. That's why I've kept my commitment to the most diverse administration in American history. It taps into the full talents of our nation, including Hispanic Americans at every level of my administration, like our incredible cabinet members who are here tonight, Secretary of Education Secretary Cardona, Small Business Administrator Guzman. Together we make history. And let's finally honor the history of building a national museum for Latino Americans on the Mall. I mean it. As well as American Women's History Museum on the National Mall. Folks, look, let me close with this. Jill and my ancestors were immigrants as well. Years and years ago, Italian, Italy, and Ireland. They came with very little but their family and their faith. And they were criticized because many of them were Catholics and weren't allowed to work. Were decimated in places like Scranton, Pennsylvania, where I'm from, in the coal mines. My family Bible, the same Bible my ancestors brought across the ocean, sits on my table in my Oval Office. And across the room, I placed another powerful symbol for me. And from the very beginning, the bust of Cesar Chavez. He inspired me when I first ran as a 29-year-old kid in Delaware. He was organizing in Delaware. My dad taught me early on about the dignity of work and the dignity of all people, like the 6 Latino construction workers who died when the bridge collapsed in Baltimore Harbor. I met and prayed with their families. They were literally building a bridge to the American dream. That's the American story, the Latino American story. Cesar Chavez's partner in the fight for dignity of work, Dolores Huertas, who once said, every minute is a chance to change the world. I look at all of you, and I see a nation of dreamers and doers who are literally changing the world, and that's not hyperbole. You're the reason I've never been more optimistic, and I give you my word to that. Just remember who we are, ladies and gentlemen. 25 every 100 high school students and grade school students in America are Latino. 25%. You are the future. You are the history. You will make the history. I mean that sincerely. Think about it. 25 out of every 100 students in our schools are Latino. We have to remember who we are. We're a nation of immigrants. That's why we're strong. We're the United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity when we decide to do something. We're the only nation in the world that's come out of every crisis stronger than we went in. And with the leadership of the Latino community, it's going to happen again. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're the best. Thank you. Remember who you are. Every time I'd walk out of my grandfather Finnegan's house in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and yell, Joey, keep the faith. And my grandma would yell, no, Joey, spread it. Let's spread the faith. Spread it.
It's life-changing. It's a life-changing program.
It is bound to be one of the most pivotal aspects of my entire resume. Just understanding how public policy functions, getting to know so many amazing people both within the program and in the Hill was just life-transforming, and I have such a clear path for what I want to do in my future, all thanks to CHCI.
CHCI has completely changed my life. From Texas to DC, I always say it was CHCI that made it possible.
I think I've come a long way, and it's just because of them.
The evolution that happens across, whether it's 1 week, 10 to 12 weeks, or 9 months, is incredible. It's the impact of the actual content and experience that leads to transformational change. People leave with more self-awareness, with a better sense of what they want to do next, and it's incredible to see that transformation.
I was a very timid and shy student, but I received a lot of leadership development, great mentors, an amazing alumni association. It provided me with the empowerment that I needed.
As an immigrant myself, as an undocumented woman, I felt like there was a place for me in this program.
I was placed in fellow Puerto Rican Representative Darren Soto. It was a great environment, very welcoming from the start.
CHCI allowed a sense of belonging. It was through the fellowship that I found myself for the first time in a room where I wasn't the only Latina or the only representation of our diaspora.
There were young, passionate, driven Latinos coming together, sharing our culture. There were a few folks from Texas, from El Paso, from the Dominican Republic.
Everyone comes from such different backgrounds, but we're all connected by an interest in public policy, a want to help our community.
To this day, I have a lot of close friends from that experience.
I still remember how an alumni from the program labeled it as the beginning of the rest of her life. And that really stuck with me. The program was the beginning of the rest of my life and has provided tremendous opportunities professionally and personally.
I don't know what I was expecting coming into it. I wasn't really expecting to leave with such a big family, but I really consider all 29 of them my family members.
All of our programs are completely free of cost to our participants, so that there is no barrier to their participation in the program, and that's all thanks to our corporate sponsor.
It's the community, it's the familia of CHCI that I think is the secret sauce, the success of the program. Having a pipeline of talent from the communities that have been underrepresented was what our desire to be involved with CHCI was about.
State Farm's support for CHCI runs deep. We believe in the power of education, leadership development, and programs that help people realize their dreams.
At Toyota, we have two core values: continuous improvement and respect for people. And for us, those values align squarely with the ethos of CHCI and making sure that there's representation in the halls and walls of Congress. And part of that is helping to grow the next generation of leaders through the Congressional Internship Program.
Today we're sitting in the Esteban y Torres room at La Plaza de Cultura y Artes. It was because of individuals like him who not only blazed a path for others to follow, but reached back and helped others create their own way forward. I think that's where CHCI